New York City is a cultural epicenter known for its history, museums, restaurants, fearless freaks, and of course, never-ending nightlife. But the city that never sleeps was forced to take a nap when the coronavirus spread across the boroughs. COVID-19 shut down everything that makes New York what it is. How is New York's nightlife and the people who make it run adapting to the pandemic? Michael Musto is a journalist and legendary chronicler of New York's nightlife.
I never saw this coming, neither did anybody I know. Even if Miss Cleo was around, she wouldn't have seen it.
Don't you really want to know?
She was never wrong, right? I've been through the early days of AIDS. I've been through 9/11. As a New Yorker, I've seen all the horrors. Things were shut down here and there. I've never been through a complete shutdown, a quarantine. That hasn't happened in my lifetime in New York City.
Jenna LoMonaco is the head of digital marketing for Island Records.
I'm very busy with work, and we're really just trying to be as creative and still connect with fans as much as possible, even though we have limited resources. There's no ability to have a crew with an artist or anything.
Mister Cee is a legendary New York City DJ who used to work with the notorious B.I.G.
Hey, Mister Cee, are you ready?
We took that way too much for granted, living free. We live in America, we live free. I've seen so many people post on social media or talk about how they miss being outside or miss being active. But if we all just do our part in sanitizing ourselves and making sure that we take care of ourselves when this pandemic is over, then something like this can never, ever happen again.
As a very restless person myself, I too have an issue being quarantined. While it is certainly for the greater good, I do miss the nightlife in New York. Going to concerts and clubs has been a pastime of mine, and I cannot wait to get back out there. But as we do in New York, we're adapting.
It's bizarre for me because every night I used to go to screenings, Broadway plays, maybe a drag bar, an event, rap parties, all kinds of things. It's bizarre to have nowhere to go. But while I'll never get spiritual, I don't mind spending time with myself. I'm reaching out to friends on Zoom and House Party. I'm getting my work done. I still have a job, knock wood. And we're getting through. We realize this is temporary and it's necessary. So we're doing it. What's your option? There are no other options. Break into a bar and serve yourself a drink? That's not very festive.
I think that right now we're really using technology to the greatest of our advantage. I find that there's lots of platforms like Zoom and Google Duo and things like that that allow you to connect with your loved ones, connect with your friends, connect with your coworkers. We didn't always really use in the past, and now that's become a vital part of survival. It just challenges us to figure out what resources we can really use to keep people connected also with our artists.
With me not doing the clubs frequently, that kind of closed, and then me starting the job for LL Cool J's channel, Rock the Bells Radio.
It's on and popping, baby. Rock the Bells Radio, strictly for the OGs.
That kind of opened up during the pandemic. That's a blessing for me, if anything, to get a job and to make money and to do something that I love to do during this whole pandemic.
Artists outside New York are also coping and adapting. Trackstar the DJ spins for Run the Jewels, who were supposed to go on tour with Rage Against the Machine and play Coachella this past spring.
I don't mind the quarantine that much because I really like my family and I get some extra time with my wife and daughter, Camille and Amina. Obviously, there's the lost experiences and the lost income and the death and destruction all over the world outside of my door. So it's it's not a good thing, big picture, but inside the house, I like it. I like spending time at home. It's a good time to catch up on a lot of stuff and just time with the family. Right when we were getting into road mode, we did a week of rehearsals and then we went home for 2 days before the second week of rehearsals. And that's when this hit. It happened that quick. I was supposed to leave the next day for another week of rehearsals leading right into tour.
While Trackstar is in St. Louis, his Run the Jewels bandmates are spread across the country. Killer Mike is down in Atlanta, while LP is somewhere in New York State.
I'm in St. Louis now. Yeah, we all have different things going on. Mike's been in gardening, according to his Instagram. And, just working out at home and spending more time with his kids. Elle got a dog. I feel like we're all making the most of it in different ways. Elle went upstate to his other place, which is where we record a lot of stuff. which is looking like a great investment now.
Some artists are finding creative ways to entertain themselves and their audiences.
Well, I think the best way and that artists are coping with this, and you see this everywhere, is live performances from home and being really creative. The Killers were on Jimmy Kimmel and they performed from their bathroom. And, you know, Jessie Reyez did a live stream performance from her bedroom in her parents' house.
Nobody gets out of love alive.
Sang into a hairbrush.
When we're young, we say goodbye when we die.
You just kind of have to adapt to what's going on and figure out how to, you know, give people live music in the state of the world that we're in. Obviously, it doesn't fulfill the need for being at a show, but it's kind of this really sweet, amazing thing, because I keep saying this is the first time in history that we're all living the same exact life. Whether you're rich or poor or famous or not, we're all in our house trying to figure out what to do with ourselves and keep going with our normal lives, and like overeating and talking to your pet like it's a person.
Music can definitely help us heal, as you see on social media with all the DJs going live and so on and so forth, you know, and all these great battles that we're seeing in hip hop, and RZA and Premier and T-Pain and Little John, et cetera, et cetera.
By sheer necessity, we're learning ways to express ourselves and do what we normally do, but this time we're doing it without leaving the house. And I think as a result, we're going to find that we didn't need a lot of the things we thought we needed.
For Michael Musto, who's seen it all in this city, there are parallels between the response to the coronavirus outbreak and another virus that once ravaged the city.
Corona is actually even scarier than AIDS because you can get it from just casual contact. With AIDS, you had to have intimate contact or a blood transfusion. There probably are people still with their head in the sand about Corona, but it's so omnipresent and easy to catch that I see a much more instant worldwide response from people, if not always from governments. I just hope when this is over, we forget that people are not the enemy. When this is over, if someone comes up to shake your hand, we're gonna be like, ah! You know, and that was part of the damage of AIDS, is that we feared everyone.
While we all need to do our part to flatten the curve and save each other, there is fear that this pandemic will change nightlife and the music industry forever.
Are people going to want to go to shows again? Are people going to feel safe to be at a venue or a bar in a room with lots of people that you don't know? That's a big question, I think, on everybody's mind. It could go two ways. Either everybody's going to flood and want to like see everything and do everything and go everywhere, or we're just going to be terrified the whole time. And I don't know which way it's going to go.
I think that the nightlife is going to be even bigger than ever. People are going to come out in droves to want to party and want to have a good time.
I have a theory that face masks are going to be the new accessory. I think that that's going to become a part of our culture, and maybe that's how we feel more comfortable, you know, being around a lot of people.
I see a lot more establishments, nightclubs and stuff, have more hand sanitizer liquids and towels and wet wipes and stuff like that be available. And I also see people making a profit out of it too, selling hand sanitizer wipes in nightclubs. I feel like the smaller, lesser known DJs is going to have a tougher time getting booked than the bigger known DJs. If you're a promoter and you're like trying to get back in business after this pandemic is over, you're gonna rush to get the more well-known DJ as opposed to the lesser-known DJ. You're not gonna take a chance on a lesser-known DJ to try to fill your room back up when you're trying to get back started again.
I think when this is over, there's gonna be the biggest party since Studio 54. But I also think people are learning to adjust, because that's human nature. You adjust in a crisis, you adapt.
Are you guys afraid to get back on stage now with this pandemic?
So what's interesting is this hadn't crossed my mind even one time till you just said it. So I'm thinking about it as you're asking it. I mean, at the point where we get back on stage, I assume we will be doing that because we're comfortable with the way everything's played out and the way everything's looking. My short answer is I don't think so. I mean, I'm definitely not afraid to get back on stage because I know we're not going to do it until it makes sense.
I got one last question for you. You were very close with the Notorious B.I.G. If Biggie were alive today, what would he think of this craziness that we're in right now?
I don't think he'll be able to take it. He's not a house person. He's not an in-the-house guy. So I don't know if Big will be able to take this. But then again, on the flip side of it, you know, Biggie being a heavy weed smoker, all he would probably care about was some weed being delivered to his house, and then he could just, you know, blaze up every day. So maybe he could adapt.